Picture this. It's 2026. A police car rolls up to a quiet street corner. No lights, no siren. No one called 911. Nothing's happened. They're here because a little glowing tablet told them that something might. This is the new reality of law enforcement, where we're trying to predict crime before it even happens.
Okay, so let's really get into this. That whole scene, it's not science fiction anymore. It's the tightrope we're walking right now. On one side, you have the incredible promise of AI keeping us safer, but on the other, you have the very real danger of accidentally building a massive surveillance state. The big question is, can you really have one without the other?
So here's how we're going to break it all down in this explainer. First, we'll meet this Silicon Sentinel, what the tech actually is. Then we'll get into how AI even tries to forecast crime. After that, we hit the really dangerous part, the algorithmic echo chamber. From there, we'll look at the rules people are trying to write for this new kind of RoboCop, and we'll end by asking the huge question, is this genuine foresight, or is it a massive folly?
At its heart, this is all about promise versus peril. The promise? Well, it's a world with less crime, right? Where police can get ahead of problems instead of just reacting to them. But the peril, that's a world where an algorithm, maybe one with biases we can't even see, is making decisions about who gets watched and who gets stopped.
And the thing you have to understand is this is not some theoretical down-the-road kind of discussion. As of right now, in 2026, this tech is way past the testing phase. It's being plugged into police departments all over, becoming the very backbone of how they decide where to send officers. This stuff is live.
So how in the world does an AI see a crime before it happens? It's not gazing into some digital crystal ball. The secret sauce is a technique called risk terrain modeling. Let's unpack what that actually means.
So here's how it works. First, the AI just inhales data, and I mean tons of it. It's not just old crime reports. It's looking at stuff you wouldn't even think of, like weather patterns, where liquor stores are located, even when payday is. Then, it starts looking for connections, for patterns that seem to line up with criminal activity. And the key thing is, the final result isn't a picture of a suspect. It's a map that highlights hot zones, predicting where a crime is likely to happen, not who is going to do it. Proponents call it precision policing.
And you know, this isn't some strange, one-off use of AI. It's actually a textbook example of what these systems are built for. As this research points out, a core function of agentic AI is to take huge, structured data sets and use them to predict what might happen in the real world, whether that's in finance or, in this case, policing.
But here is where we hit a massive problem. An AI is only as smart as the data you feed it. So, what happens when the data itself is biased? Well, you get what I call an algorithmic echo chamber, where the prejudices of the past get supercharged and automated for the future. This risk is so serious that the US government actually has a special name for this kind of technology: rights impacting AI. Think about that. The name itself is a giant red flag. It's an official admission that when you use algorithms to forecast crime, you are playing with systems that can directly affect people's fundamental civil liberties.
And this is exactly how that danger plays out. It's a vicious cycle, a self-fulfilling prophecy. It starts with biased data, maybe from neighborhoods that were historically over-policed. The AI sees this and says, aha, this area is high risk, so more police get sent there. Now, with more cops on patrol, they're going to make more arrests, often for small, low-level stuff. And here's the kicker. That new arrest data gets fed right back into the AI, which then sees it as proof that it was right all along.
And this isn't just a theory. The White House has put out official warnings about this. They've said that if the data you start with reflects historical discrimination, the AI will just learn to continue that discrimination. It's the ultimate garbage in, garbage out problem, but the garbage out has real-world consequences for people's lives and rights.
This whole feedback loop creates a massive legal crisis. You see, the Fourth Amendment is built on this idea of probable cause, that police need specific factual reasons to stop you. But what we're moving towards is probable math, where the reason is just a statistical prediction from a model. And the huge question our legal system is wrestling with is this: can a percentage from an algorithm replace a constitutional right?
And if that wasn't complicated enough, you've got the black box problem. See, a lot of these algorithms are owned by private companies who call them trade secrets. That means if you're stopped or even charged with something based on an AI's prediction, your lawyer might not even be allowed to look at the code. How are you supposed to face your accuser when your accuser is a secret piece of software?
Okay, so with all these incredible risks on the table, what is anyone doing about it? Well, we are now squarely in the era of regulation. People are scrambling to build some guardrails, to write a new rule book for this algorithmic style of justice.
And it's not just talk.
there's a real global movement happening. First and most importantly is this idea of meaningful human oversight. The rule is AI gives the intelligence, but a human makes the final judgment, period. Next, governments are now requiring AI impact assessments before these tools are ever used to try and spot the risks ahead of time. There's also a big push for transparency, forcing agencies to tell the public what AI systems they're using. And crucially, there's now a requirement to actively test for and fix algorithmic bias. It's a lot like the EU's approach, where they basically ban the really dangerous AI and put super strict rules on the high-risk stuff, like policing.
And this idea, this absolute need to keep a human in the loop, it goes way beyond just policing. You look at the research into other really high-stakes areas like AI-enabled weapons, and you see the exact same conclusion. The number one safeguard every single time is making sure a person, not a program, makes the final call.
And we need these safeguards like yesterday, because the technology is moving at lightning speed. I mean, check this out. A recent report notes that the Baton Rouge Police Department is getting a military-grade surveillance drone. This is a perfect example of how fast this advanced tech is making its way to local police, which makes the need for clear, strong rules more urgent than ever.
Which brings us right back to the beginning, to the fundamental choice that this technology is putting right in front of all of us. Which way do we go?
Because here's the bottom line. AI can give us something that feels like foresight. It can see patterns that no human ever could. But what it absolutely cannot give us is wisdom. It can put a red circle on a map and call it a hot zone, but it can't tell you why people in that community might be struggling or what kind of help they might need to solve the problems that lead to crime in the first place.
So I'll leave you with this one question to really chew on. As we build these incredibly powerful Silicon Sentinels, are we actually using this tech to solve crime? Or are we just using it as a really sophisticated way to put a lid on problems that, deep down, we're just too afraid to actually fix? The choice, ultimately, is ours.